viewer.
Oh, that's so cool. We have a viewer.
It should have sound now.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry. I guess that was my job. We were
Hello.
just testing it, so it's fine.
Well, I thought most of our audience was deaf, so it wouldn't really make a difference. But
No, that was all good testing. So, hello, here we are. That's fantastic. I feel so much better. Everything, all that trash we were talking, we didn't know we were live.
I'm so glad that we weren't, because I was like, did you really tell them that? Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
let's
be
start again.
professional now. Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta be professional though.
Okay. Welcome to the first episode of Maybe, Probably, Maybe that now with sound. And this week we're talking about Meta or Facebook and how they've renamed. And we'll also be talking about porn. And
Wow. Okay, take two. Is there sound still?
yeah, no, there's still sound.
Okay. Wow,
I understand that Mark Zuckerberg and porn are not two things that should ever go together, but we're really good at putting things together that shouldn't go. So.
Wait, actually, let's say yarn, because that word might get picked up in search. So I think we should say yarn.
Yarn?
If we want to be.
It's on the. It's on the. Okay. The word is on every single slide of the game. Alright, well, it's okay. We'll bypass that. Let's start over with the introduction. So, first, this is the Hive. We were around for a while, and a lot of us just became busy with our own projects. But we wanted to come back because Nava is like the social VR queen, you know.
Well,
I wouldn't say you. No.
VR
Okay,
queen.
you know what? Let's decide that neither of us are, and that we just like it. But Nava is like also a really great marketing person. She knows everybody. So we have some thoughts, and it looks like we're like, hey, we're in support. But no, these are we're this off because it's not worth stuff. I love how what are you doing?
I was trying to point to you because you were talking about marketing, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm here.
But on my screen she's down is Vivian, and to your left is me.
Well, you're a marketer too, so we're all marketers. That's the wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and also on my screen here, I'm just gonna show a little bit. So this is part of the keynote, and this is what's it called, the Horizon World.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we took a party. That's probably where that idea came from.
Yeah. So they talked about a lot of remote working on this platform. I don't know who else has tried Horizon World. I actually went in, changed my avatar, and actually it looks like me, and I kind of like that.
Oh, when did you do that?
I did it when you told me exactly when.
Oh.
And then you weren't there. No, I went on the other day because I tried to do it and the update didn't work for me. So I went back to see how it improved. It looks pretty much the same, but the keynote, of course, again, is not as much fun that it's not in person. So there's that. We miss seeing each other all in person. But they announced that it's called Meta now, and I believe that it's their company name is going to be called Meta. So I think Facebook, like the social media platform, will still stay the same.
It's like an Alphabet Google kind of thing, where they're just gonna rename like the overarching company because Facebook now over encompasses, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's now Oculus, blah blah blah. So that makes.
David says that we're not really audible. You can't really hear me and Nava.
Can you hear me?
He said kind of. So.
I have you guys turned up.
He said kind of. Maybe it's their because I am loud.
No, they hear Cammy just fine.
I'm just kidding.
It's okay, David. We appreciate the bearer of bad news. We have a lot of bad news today, so it's fine.
Wait a second. David, can you triple check on a phone or something? Maybe it's your computer audio settings. It's just liking Cammy. Cammy gets a lot of that.
She gets a lot of attention. We are really jealous. But she's like special. That's why she's not wearing this, because it has to be special all the time. Anyway, so the keynote. She wants to flip me off so bad. So, all right, so she did. So we also do a lot of marketing for studios or for corporations in gaming, and we work a lot with people on naming things. And so when Meta came out, I actually wasn't totally surprised because I thought it might be like metaverse kind of thing. It's such like a hot topic word, which kind of pisses me off because if you look at like the description of the Hive, it's like it was like, oh, it's a talk show in the metaverse. So it was already a word, and then everyone, I don't know, got bored because everyone's stuck at home and wanted to argue about stuff. So
Yeah, that's when we launched season The Hive with Nava.
yeah,
that?
that's when things were amazing. Yes, I agree.
No, I'm just saying, like, your show has been on forever. I mean, it was the first in Altspace to stream IRL. It was
I think one of
very, very, I feel like revolutionary in a way, in the fact that you did things and pushed the technology, and you were a really good community builder because you knew what you knew and you knew what you didn't knew, and maybe probably, and then you helped other people build their career by introducing them, connecting them, and then bringing them into your situation that you had. And it was a good crew that you had, at least when you started, and then
yeah, and I got super super tired. So I mean, like literally tired because I was going through chemo. So not like so bored of it. But yeah, I got sick. Oh, but then Nava took over when I started competing and playing in the VR esports
Onward
arena.
right?
Yeah, in
It's
Onward.
now owned by Meta.
It is owned by Meta. That's so weird.
Still Meta.
Yeah, we get used to it. But so the thing that I was kind of like, it was that Meta just seems like such a
Dally girl name.
like, well, but everyone's using it already, and you just yanked it from all of us. It's like,
point is like,
yeah, here's my place. It's called Place.
Whenever I ask people, because Meta has a different connotation depending where you're using it. There's the metaverse, and then in gaming especially, the meta is something completely different. The meta is sort of like what currently is working, what's the current strategy or trend in strategy. So when I ask people, when you say meta, like what do you think of as meta? I get a lot of different responses back, which is why to me it's a strange word to pick because it sounds like, or it seems like a word that a lot of people are kind of squirrely on the definition of. And to me, if you are branding something, especially an overarching company with like all of these companies below it, you want people to have a very clear idea of what that means in their head when you say it. So I don't know. What did Mark Zuckerberg say that meta was supposed to be?
Well, he said the origin, he's a history buff. And the origin is meta is a Greek word, and it means beyond. So of course I'm like, oh, to infinity and beyond, Buzz Lightyear style. Because I just, every time I hear meta, I'm like, oh my God, so meta. That's so meta. Oh my God. Like that was the first thing I think I tweeted right when I heard it. And then I started seeing like later on some of that, but it was just like so meta. It's just a weird metadata from, web HTML stuff. I was so shocked. Everybody's like, oh, they're going to say metaverse. I'm like, that is so boring. They're not going to use that name. They would never use a buzzword.
That's what I'm saying. Let's have a new planet. Let's call it Planet.
Metaverse. They're meta. So they're a little bit, they're meta. Like, oh my gosh, you're so meta. Which is,
okay, it's funny that you say like it's like a Valley Girl because my brother would always say it. So I texted him. He doesn't use Facebook, so he's like, weird. He's like, I don't care. But when we watch something, like if you're watching a show and they make like an inside joke in the show that's like pertaining to their real life, he's like, get it? It's so meta, And so I just thought of, because he is a Valley Girl, so I agree with that.
Google it and say so meta Valley Girl or something, I bet you a ton of stuff will come up. I'm completely shocked.
Well, I really like it because there's a lot of really good jokes too, because I saw some really funny digs, which really was all that was all I was focused on. I think one of the ones was I have to look it up because I don't want to misquote it because it was hilarious.
Meta buttock or all that kind of stuff. Are you talking about where he's like standing next to that white screen?
Yeah, it's like you gotta everyone, all the trolls gotta come out. So I already made a mask with the new logo. It's already my mask for
Are we
Halloween.
gonna talk about how the Meta logo kind of looks like a pair of testicles?
Well, by the way, that is because I built that. Okay, so that's not how it really looks. Don't judge Facebook on this one.
Okay.
This is actually,
No, it is.
I have 15 polygon shapes to play with. Actually, and I know that it's 15, and I've never counted it, but Paige was talking about it today, so it stayed in my mind. But those either look like what like what you said, or they look like
Say it.
no, or binoculars. So like for me, I'm thinking to myself, by the way, side note, do you remember that when that guy came in? We were
Things to blow your
on
face for 500, Alex.
Uh,
no, and he took over our Zoom.
yeah, that was funny.
We got hacked. It was so cool. It was so meta. It was so meta. Like someone was like, "Hey, come on," and we are like, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah, stop being so friendly, Nava.
I'm not anymore. I've changed.
Okay, good.
I'm
Well,
metamorphosed.
speaking of the word that Nava doesn't want to say, which is
Yeah, it's testicle. You're so
which is okay. Well, we have a fun game.
Dangly
It
bit.
doesn't pertain too much to meta, but we have been working with some groups and helping them rename their brand, because like we're in VR, right? So everyone has like the VR in their name. If you're wondering like what does the Hive have to do with VR, has nothing to do with it. But it's a VR thing. Huh? The Hive. So go ahead and make fun of the Hive. I don't care. We'll make fun of us too. But everyone has to have like, the V in their name. So like clever versus or version or I'm not gonna say that one, but
It's because VR is such a new thing that you have to implicitly state that it's part of VR, and because it's such like a gimmick almost, and because of its newness, that people are just like, I have to somehow implicate the fact that this is in VR, and all it does is result in a lot of gaming and branding where it's just like something VR, 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 and it's getting every logo is somebody with a headset or some kind of headset or a controller or something like
yeah,
that.
looks cool. Like I have my headset on.
We haven't developed a culture enough around VR to have sort of things that are representative of it that aren't just those like one or two iconic things. So we get stuck with a lot of like really bad naming conventions that hopefully will go away.
Yeah. Well, we're going to play a round of Let's Make Nava Super Uncomfortable, which is our favorite game because Nava is a professional and she's in the polite side of VR where people are like super nice, polite, want to help each other. Cami and I, we are with the gamers who suck and they're mean, they're grotesque, best people in the world. So they give they give us a little bit of edge. But
Facebook gaming, because Facebook doesn't believe in promoting people like that.
Oh wow, she told us
they believe in community.
Good. Okay.
Inclusion.
Yeah, they
very important, and those three things do not align.
Okay, can we talk about the first 3 minutes or 2 minutes of Mark Zuckerberg's keynote where he came out and tried to be this like messiah cult leader where he was like, the creators, I salute you, you're my heroes. And just as someone who is on the fringes of VR, I mean, I don't participate a lot in a lot of things that I should maybe participate in because I try something out and I kind of get bored of it. But I look at something like Horizons and I've seen that there's been a lot of people creating a lot of content for it. And thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. It's so nice that you like creators, but you've done nothing, in my opinion, to reward those creators for all of their past work. All the people that have worked and been your guinea pigs and your QR quality control testers for your new projects, you have just basically told them to fuck off. And
my, she's read someone's diary.
Yep.
You are giving, there's like $10 million out for new people coming into the platform. Now that you have your Quest 2, now that you have you know, all these people that you want to bring on board, all of a sudden the old guard, the people who actually built your platform, is just see you later. Like this is that to me was just way to open it up, Mark Zuckerberg. Way to make people feel great, important, special that have worked so hard for you. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, I do, I 100% agree on the focus on new. I think the goal with that community creator fund is going to be to give to the people who are new and to the people like, for example, when the head of Metaverse went online, went into his speech, he brought in an Instagram influencer, someone who has a huge following. But, you know, being in social media for as long as I have, I know influencers. I know their stats. They have a lot of engagement pods, not all of them, but they pay for their followers. One, two, they have companies give them a crazy amount of money. And then they get people that might check out their stuff once in a while. But when you actually calculate the percentage ratio from the followers to the people engaging daily, you know, if you have 750,000, you know, followers, but 1,000 people are viewing, I mean, or liking it, or even 500 of them, that's might seem a lot to a small account, but you've got almost 1 million followers. You should be getting a lot more engagement than that. And if you just watch those influencers, they have the same people liking their posts. They have the same people commenting, rotating the different comments. So I would definitely, if I were to Facebook, I would go if I were to Meta, I would go 100% the other way, because your smaller creators, which is what they're saying they're going to give back to, are the ones that are actually doing the work, you know, that care about the product, and they're the ones that are going to lift your brand because they're creating content for free for you. So that's what is so frustrating, because when I saw that the person that they highlighted for Horizon was a social media 2D newsfeed influencer, I was
We
taken
believe
aback.
so much in VR that the person we're going to present to you does not really produce for VR. That's how much
Well,
we
no,
believe in
I
this.
didn't look at it in that way. I just looked at it from makes sense. They're trying to convert new users. That's a great business outcome and good decision for them to build their brand. But then you're not doing what you're saying you're doing. I thought you were going to help creators. Well, you're not
What?
helping creators.
So they are. They're
We're
Yeah.
helping new creators.
they're helping 2D creators, and then a few VR creators so
But
that
that's like how it is now in VR. Like before, when it was all pure and everyone was like trying to figure it out and have a good time, everyone knows each other. But now people who like I knew, we used to hang out and talk or do shows together or whatever, suddenly like, oh yeah, do I know you? Have your people call my people? And it's like, seriously, come on. Like how big can you get? You're still in VR only. So calm down.
will get big. I mean, but you shouldn't be too good for anyone, because you're not, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not. Thank you.
What's the weird
you
thing
are.
about
I'm kidding.
the weird thing about VR is that there's so like you look at a company like Oculus, Facebook, Meta, whatever the fuck they're calling themselves today.
She
They
is mad.
Yeah,
I'm not
she
mad. I just have a mouth on me. They throw so much money into VR. Like, if you are a game developer, Oculus will loan you money to start your game. If you are now in Horizons, Facebook will give you money to create things.
is.
If you're putting on a tournament, Oculus will pay you money to do that if they like it. There's so much money being thrown into VR, but I think for me, my problem is that it's not being given out judiciously. It's being given out to people who present maybe a nice idea, but it's not going towards the people that should be going towards against. Like if you are a social media company, you know the power of peer-to-peer communication. Anybody who's ever owned a VR headset knows two things. One, the best way to convince someone that VR is awesome is to put them in a headset. There's almost no one that you put in a headset who's just like, I don't really get it. Almost everybody is blown away by it. Two, your biggest sellers of VR are the people who buy the headset. How many people have you gotten into VR that have a VR headset? Like I've gotten at least 3 people into VR.
At least 15. At
I'm gonna
least.
say at least 1,300.
Yeah, it's almost like a referral program.
She was like, let me see. I'm gonna say 13 just to try to not be whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I work at Best Buy.
Oh my gosh. No,
Okay, sorry.
so
It's
many.
late, guys.
I don't even know. I like, oh,
So, okay, here's the thing. We create a lot of stuff. You probably don't see it on YouTube because we're not the on camera type of creators. We're the behind the scenes. Let's help people learn how to stream. Let's show them how to brand themselves. Let's hook them up with the right connections. And I mean, and I have no problem with that. I enjoy that. But there's also times when we want to create, we get kind of like stonewalled, which is so weird because what about when you needed us for stuff? And I think that's where a little bit of the frustration is coming. Also other things like I wish there was just more competition. I don't like monopolies. So yeah, that's
well, I mean, I think there's competition because you have the Decentralands, the Sandbox, the
with headsets.
well, they eventually,
And
and Roblox, and I mean, they do have some competition because the business that they're going into is the metaverse business, and that is a very, I feel like it's pretty crowded. They've got to do a lot to get. I almost want to just go. Yeah, they have to do a lot to get the people that they already have because, as you said earlier, Cami, peer to peer. Like I started learning about NFTs back in like during the pandemic. I did a project with Kathy Hackle, and it was a big brand and entering the NFT space, and I learned so much about that space. I was just wowed by it. I'm like, okay, this is definitely the future, but nobody was really doing it. And then of course, what happens? GameStop and Reddit. That's what happens. That's what blew everything up. That's what started a lot of this because they came together, that Wall Street Bets Reddit group. I tell this story all the time because it really did happen. They came together, and I mean, not it really did happen, but it's like what I experienced, and they went against the big guns of the world, like the investors, the financial people, and they were trying to take down GameStop, and they won. Like, that's really powerful. And if I was any brand right now that was big, like a big box retailer or a B2B, whatever I am going to be very good to my creators because they could go against me. And if they go against me like those Wall Street Bet Reddit guys did and girls and he, she, they, them, like that could still happen to Meta. So, we are very strong as a community. So, nobody owns us anymore. It's not centralized. I mean, right now it's centralized, but we now have a voice.
Well, it's the thing that Vivian was talking about is sort of like very much plays into what you're talking about too, is that right now there is kind of a monopoly on hardware, essentially. Is that, okay, yeah, some people have a Vive still, some people have that the Valve Index headset. But for the most part,
yeah.
the biggest consumer selling headset, even though they won't release numbers, is the Quest 2, the Quest, the Oculus Rift. All of those combined probably make up, I would say, at least 80% of the market share of, um, you know, uh, not commercial, but regular consumer grade headsets. It's just, to me, it's very similar to the iPhone. When the iPhone first came out, and they kind of like they got rid of BlackBerry and whatever. Like, if you had a major cell phone, for the most part, you had an iPhone. They had probably not 80%, but they had a significant amount of the market share. And what happened to iPhone is the same thing that I think could happen to Oculus, Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called, is that when you keep things too close, when you guard your products too closely, when you don't give creators the freedom to create, when you don't allow people the freedom to do with those devices what they want to do, which is what iPhone or Apple is notorious for doing, you stifle that. And eventually, it might not happen right away, but eventually someone's going to come along with a product like, I don't know, maybe Google will come out with a VR headset or something like that, and they will say, here, you don't need to log in with any of your accounts, and we don't care what you do with it. We're not going to make you tie yourself to the metaverse, and you just do whatever you want with it, and we're going to take all the restrictions off of it. And so that's kind of all it takes. Or we're going to reward the creator somehow. We're going to make it so that you get a piece of the pie. And that's all it takes, is someone looking to disrupt that industry. If you hold things too closely, if you mistreat your loyal fan base too much, as soon as someone comes along with just a slightly better idea that's a little bit more fair, you're going to get everybody like leaving in droves for that new product.
Ooh, that's very thematic of the last 6 months or so. Here. Yeah, a lot of new competition coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new headsets coming out. And you also have augmented reality that can.
I was going to say, it feels more like it was focused on augmented reality. I mean, that's what Mark Zuckerberg said about it being like augmented, and everything that they showed a lot more of
hologram.
Actually, yeah. Here, like seamlessly going in between worlds. So this is actually Horizon Worlds, but yeah, I really liked what they were talking about. Like here, you know, with where what I didn't understand was like, is this pre-recorded, or I mean, like, is it an experience that you try, or is it a way of actually communicating?
I think it's both. I think you could be a personal trainer. Actually, I was talking to my personal trainer today about this, but like he was asking me questions about it. But it was interesting because there's going to be all sorts of things coming out and that are already being worked on with like holograms and haptic suits that give feedback where, you can be able to smell and experience things through different lenses, just like how Spectacle has.
I love my spectacles.
Do you have the new ones?
No.
Oh, I had so I had the first ones, but I think my babysitter stole it. I don't have it anymore. When I moved from Florida to Ohio, I lost it, which is a bummer because I loved the design of that. Loved it. I thought it was the best marketing campaign, everything about it. But Snapchat's really good to their creators. And they do pick up a lot of smaller creators. They don't look for the big creators. They look for the people who know how to create good content.
Yeah, you can look him up when Luke Hurd. He's on our channel, right? Nava, you interviewed him.
I love Luke Hurd.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love when I saw his filter for like a 90s class photo. I'm like, okay, I have to be friends with this guy. I'm reaching out to him, cold called him pretty much. And he's a bigger though. He's not a little creator, and he's got an agency, and he works with National Geographic,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll see if he takes your calls anymore. I'm just kidding. Hi, Luke. But look at this. Look at the video here. I mean, this is like really all about like remote working, and I mean, that looks really awesome and I was very overwhelmed here, where I was like, okay, I can't watch this anymore because I'm really overwhelmed with the possibilities that this means.
Let's also remember the disclaimer at the beginning that says,
yeah, I know,
our future concept. So
yeah,
as much as I love some of the ideas that they presented there, it's just like when you go and watch a game trailer at E3 where they're just like, this is not actual in-game footage, this is game engine, whatever. It means that this is like what ideally we'd like it to look like, but what you're actually going to get is probably not necessarily that close.
Well, because we're not there yet.
You're not there yet.
Like technology-wise.
Well, yeah. Okay. So when I see stuff like that, I get excited because I get excited for different reasons. It's like I'll get excited about something, and then someone in the gamer community be like, this has no application for games. How could you play like a, I don't know, like a shooter or anything for like esports or whatever. But I don't think of it in that terms first, because I've gone and tried different things like the Cave 2 at UIC here in Chicago, where they've been doing this stuff since the 70s, and it's all like enterprise level, like it's for like Toyota or medical uses for surgery, and so they've been doing this for so long. So when I've tried it, it's like it's in my head when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, that's stuff now, but for consumers, because there's so many applications for me. And I tried some of these things that you think, it's not gonna work. Like Vario's eye tracking is it's so cool. Like when I tried it, it's insane. And my first thought isn't I mean, biometrics and privacy, that kind of stuff, yes. But my first thought wasn't gaming. My first thought was, well, this is really be useful because I work, in like more closely with in the health field, with older adults, and so there's a lot of applications for that. And I work specifically for people who are forced remote, like isolated, don't have internet, or learning the internet and all of that. And so that's what I was thinking, was like, that's really cool to see. And I got overwhelmed because it's like I've already tried stuff like that, so it exists, it's just not consumer yet.
Well, I think that's like any piece of new technology is trying to figure out its best usage case, and all the different applications for it. And VR is kind of really cool because it does have all these different applications. There's almost no industry that I can think of where there isn't a place somewhere where VR has some sort of utility or some use. It's just like going back to like the cell phone thing. When we started producing more and more cell phones, it went from a device that you make phone calls on. I can't tell you the last time I use my phone as like, a phone. It is now my well, I make phone calls with it, but like it's almost like its secondary purpose. Like its primary purpose is to stay connected through email and Discord and everything else like that. Nava's phone's been through a lot, it looks like.
No, it's just the moon and the
Oh,
stars.
okay. It looked like it was like those were like little cracks on it. I was like, Nava, you
Okay,
got
look now, look
so
at this
hard.
right here. Look at this scene coming up. It's like, okay, because of like, all of those
Oh, look at the moon and the stars.
astronomy stuff. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is like for studying the planets, when they're talking about like, yeah, if you're interested in
watching Vivian's Facebook page.
yeah, I mean, look, it's really cool. Like, it's amazing. Think about how like education can be. So I don't know.
Merge Cube. Merge Cube is like that. I mean, I remember seeing it at South by, and then I saw it again. Bobby Carlton was doing some stuff. And I thought that was just amazing because that's consumer ready. I mean, what they did right there is they were trying to win you back, Vivian. No, I'm just kidding. I think there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of great people that work at Facebook and do this stuff. I just don't know. I think with the augmented reality, I think it's, this is what Spectacles is doing. Magically tried this and I think did the same kind of presentation, and poor Roni
I'm gonna
Abovitz.
be really straightforward here. I have not watched 99% of this, but just from the example that you're going on, that I'm seeing here, it sounds like most of this presentation was on AR things.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Well, although this is right here, like they're talking about like a med student. So I think this is probably be fully immersive. I mean, this is stuff that's like,
So
yeah,
like was spotlighted in that. It was a long keynote, way, way, way. And I don't know if it's because we weren't there, but I was in VR watching it, which was a total disaster. Venues is, I don't even think they should allow that anymore. I went in, I can't get in with my friends. This time I couldn't even take pictures. I couldn't do anything. I was like, what is the point of this experience?
that is hilarious. I
Immediately. And then they put Horizon's name on it. Like, I don't put Horizon's name on it until it's right. Because Horizon's a good brand. They've worked, the teams worked really hard to kind of get that going. I mean, but the venues is almost the UX design just for the mass consumer alone. Like, how are they going to drive their way into venues with their friends or with anyone they know? Instead, they're going to be with a bunch of strangers who don't know how to use their mute button, and they're going to tell their kid to sit the F down, or they're going to tell like their cat, hey, get out of the way. And that's what you hear during the presentation. And I'm like, I'm trying to be in VR to be meta right now. But like, this is getting really hard because I'm not talking with my friends. It's just like, I was triple. It was, I don't think they should use venues until it's ready.
Well, it's so weird though that I mean they've had 2 years to come up with how do we do this in a virtual platform, as opposed to a real life event, which Oculus Connect used to be and used to be fantastic and everybody loved it. So they've had 2 years to figure out how do we bring this to a virtual space. And more so than any other company, the company that you would most expect to be halfway decent at this would be the goddamn company that makes the most VR headsets in the world and social media platforms. And somehow you can't figure out how to provide an experience that is not only good but better than being there or better than just listening in on a keynote address. Like,
I don't think they had a lot of budget, to be honest. I mean, you guys think they did, but I just remember asking for swag and they didn't have any in Horizon, you know? So
the budget. Take away some
So
of that meta branding budget and put it towards actually rewarding people who are in VR watching your presentation on VR.
there is a little bit of a disconnect actually. I can't like go into like too much detail, but it's not like, I don't know, I think people feel like if you're doing something for Facebook, then you have like a direct line. Yeah, I think it's there's a lot of, sorry for using this corporate buzzword, but silos really. And the you would think that Oculus and Horizons are like, you know, working in the same department, but they're like a very separate team. So like because Horizon World or what have you is like built from Facebook directly, whereas Oculus was acquired. So I don't know like all of the behind the scenes stuff, but that's unfortunate because I don't think people, it's not really like just because we know that we can't like make excuses, because you're right, because why it wasn't in VR.
well, I'll tell you another thing. I mean, there's like 5 different reasons. So that's just one. I think the other reason is that they're Facebook still, and people know that they're Facebook. So they have an eye on them different than, let's say, a Somnium Space or Neos VR. They have a totally different eye. Those people some of them are in different countries where they start the businesses. So there's different laws and regulations. And you know, America, as we now know, as I mean, I've known it for a while, and now I think the whole world probably knows now, is that Congress doesn't know anything about technology. It's embarrassing. I can't believe our Congress, who makes so much money, can't afford to get a consultant, or I can help. Call me. Ask the right questions, because maybe we can help them and guide them and create these pods, because you're asking for a corporation. I mean, just think about it. These corporations are having to build and create policies and pay for it. Like, that's not normal. Congress doesn't even know how to use their phone.
It is a really funny video if you look it up, where
It's like it's really embarrassing. And if I was Google, Apple, Facebook, and you know what? The bottom line is what matters, right? Guess so you can build more products and take over the world, whatever. If you're driven, I'd be doing the same thing. Okay, laugh at them and do what you want, and just say, "Well, you didn't tell me I couldn't."
Yeah,
There's
I feel like the due diligence on that part should be on the members of Congress to,
yeah.
learn about
Why are
what
they?
it is that they're, making up regulations or not making up regulations about. I think it actually benefits companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, whatever, to keep them in the dark and to not make them more knowledgeable on the subject. So I don't think that they have a vested interest in making it easier for them to understand until it comes down to, I mean, there's those few situations like where Mark Zuckerberg got dragged in front of Congress and obviously like no one had any clue what was going on, which was
it was
absolutely
really funny. It was so cringy. I'm not even enjoying it. Okay.
Which one?
Watch Mark Zuckerberg with Congress, like explaining the internet to Congress.
Yeah. There's a lot of memes on that too.
It's pretty funny.
It's
I mean,
yeah,
sad, funny, like it's funny in a like, oh my God, we're all gonna die kind of way. So
I mean, my friend goes to Asia and to Dubai. Like, she travels the whole world and she tells me how stupid America is. And I'm like, you're really embarrassing me. Don't say that around my friends or my kids' friends. She just says, Nava, I walked in China. I walked into the where was it? In Shanghai. Walked into the airport and I didn't pull anything out. I just looked with my eyes and they knew who I was. I said, well, that's scary. Okay. And that's like a different type of way that they have things. But yes, I'll give it to you. They have much better technology than we do. Well, that's because we give them our ideas. They have the manufacturing and then they just create.
we tend to not move quickly or not to be agile in our use of technology. We tend to stagnate and tend to put up a lot of barriers to changing systems or implementing new things because we get so. I think we're a little bit more afraid of um, how can this be utilized wrong? How can someone, is there any loopholes, backdoors, etc. But the thing is that in that way we don't get that technology implemented at all. It's almost like we're too afraid to do it, so we kind of get stuck in the past a lot, I find.
Yeah, I mean, right. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things. So Congress is one. But on a side note, with was it Cambria Analytica? They're naming something Project Cambria.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah,
that
I thought that was
I don't
was
want
it
to
not that company?
Facebook, but like I just or Meta, I
Oh
just
wait,
like,
are we not supposed to diss them? What was the show?
well,
Why am
no,
I wearing this?
I'm
I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying,
red marker?
what it is. I just thought it was really weird. And I almost thought like, why haven't they hired me? Because I could have
Yeah.
that situation. It's crazy. I mean, if someone would have come to me with that name, I would have said, here's a book.
Well, let's think of some names then. What would you have called it? I saw a name someone posted that I was like, that is awesome. They said it's gonna be called. The name was Boomerverse. I mean, tell me that's not fitting.
Tell me you want Boomerverse without telling me.
No, I mean, come on, that's hilarious.
I opened pictures in a Word document.
Cambridge. Oh, David is telling you like it is. You
Oh,
what?
Cambridge
David.
Analytica. Which
No.
was embroiled in a weird scandal, was it not?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't want to bring that up, but I just want to say either way, it sounds just like it. Why would you use the first like 5 words of like the biggest scandal you had as a company? You could have like
So
died,
this kind of
Oh, I thought they were talking about it.
This kind of loops back to the whole reason for this discussion is that Vivi and I, especially recently, have been involved in naming many things. People have approached us, or we've been working with people, and for whatever reason, we have suggested that these are the things, the connotations that your name has, or um, this is what your name says to us. And it's just a weird process because there's so many things that you look at the names of, and you're just like, it's almost like when you go to watch like a really terrible movie and you're like, okay, so not only did someone write the screenplay, but this had to get vetted by like a lot of people, and somehow all of those people were just like asleep at the wheel and just said, "Yep, ship it, edit it, put it out there. It's great." And sometimes it's the same thing with names. It's like whenever you name something, you really have to consider what does that say about you as a brand? What are people going to think about that? And people tend to get so emotionally attached. It's like when you bring in a stray dog, people tell you like don't name it or you'll keep it. If you name it, as soon as you name that brand or that thing, people just like hang on to it and they do not want to let go of it.
Hold that thought on that because I just want you to pause that video in the background. Okay, so what do you mean, like when you say that, for example, like they can't get rid of it? Because I mean, I like change. So give me an example of like a name that, so are you saying like a brand owner or like a manager?
Like people who own a business, let's say um they've called their company I'm trying to think of something offensive but not too offensive.
Well, let's play the game.
Oh, let's play the game.
Okay, well, we're gonna play a game.
Wait, but before we play the game, can we hold and then Cami, please don't forget that. And by the way, you never introduced yourself, Cami. I just want to, yeah, but why don't you talk about how you've been an undercover Pavlov killer for like 17 years?
She keeps exposing us. Stop giving us press. We don't want people to know about us.
We haven't even been in VR for as long as you. You don't ever talk about it. Stop being so secret about this cool stuff you do.
Everyone in Pavlov just thinks I'm a really intelligent toaster.
Who's a toaster?
I am.
I'm only allowed in her kitchen.
I'm only allowed in my kitchen. That's where women belong.
That's the only channel I can use in their Discord. Is the one called the kitchen. Like, I guess I can only post in here. Oh, okay. So yes, Cammy and I, we're more into the esports stuff, which we will totally do shows about because boy, is there a lot of news. But yes, Cammy does. I said we did some, behind the scenes stuff, and she plays for the Unicorn Holers, and she's a Coletto.
What?
So my team in Pavlov is called the Unicorn Holers. Unicorn Holers.
Right? Come on, Nova. That's good, right? Cornhole.
Wait, left,
Yeah.
up, down, AB.
Actually, if you stay tuned to our socials, at some point soon, Vivi and I are going to do a live cast of both a Pavlov and an Onward game at the same time, where we argue about the various merits of each of our favorite games and why the other one is wrong.
And we're actually going to bring in a third female caster from Hyperdash. And those are 3 shooters in VR. And we're going to try and convince the other, or we're actually going to talk about like, where's the strategy and gameplay in each of these. And we should have Nava on there so that we can convince her to pick one at the end.
Ooh, and you know what? I can make very...
Oh, be careful though, because she's a judge. It really just comes down to marketing. Let me sell you. All right, let's play this game that Nava's totally pretending like she doesn't want to play. It's because she doesn't know what it is, and she's nervous.
A hard time on this.
Yeah, this a lot of hard times.
Yeah,
very hard.
No.
Okay, here we go. So go ahead, Cammy. You want to introduce it?
Oh, okay. So the game is it porn? So we're going to show you a name of a game in VR, and you have to figure out, is this, it doesn't have to be porn, but is this a sexually, does it have sexual content or mature content theme within the game?
Ready?
Okay.
Well, first I have to figure out how to work it.
Good.
What? Technology is what?
There you go. So it's covering it.
Okay.
Oh.
I see it. It says I see what it says in the pink, right?
Oh yeah, but the screen on the stream is covering it, but it says Nympho Training VR, and I hate that the Hive logo is right there.
Sorry, I'm like, this is my job, right? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, right.
Just press the minimize. There you go. Just make it smaller. So, Nava, this is a name of a real thing.
No, absolutely not.
Can we do that?
So
Wait, no, is it porn or is it a game?
oh, it's porn.
Okay. I love how nervous she is.
I want to win.
Yes.
Porn.
She's like, yes. Wait, what was that? Yes, it's porn. Okay, fine. That was easy.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't do this. Okay. I feel dirty now. We all need
It sounds like organ donor.
Oregon Quarter.
A football game?
Did you say gang?
It's
Oregon.
not what kind of game it is, Nava. Just porn or not porn?
Not porn.
Not porn. It's not porn. I forget what that one was. I'm pretty sure it's a shooter.
I just want to say one thing. I'm 2-0 right now. Just
okay. All right, fine. Maybe you know what? It's like, oh, does she know her games? Does she know her porn? Okay.
I know my lexicon, darling.
Okay.
Game for sure.
Show it to me.
Yes, game. And that's not a bad.
If it's a game, what kind of game is this? Tell me if yeah. What
kind of game is it? We'll do the thing.
No, like what is it? Like what kind of
think
game?
of like on Clubhouse, they have this like,
Bobby's in the chat saying, "Play the rules, Nava."
Who's it?
I'm trying to sidetrack.
Who said that?
Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's on. Hi, Bobby.
Okay, so what is it? Show it to me. I'm not asking. I'm just saying. This is the title.
Is well, now that you've taken me in a circle, it's definitely porn. Okay, so I like what you did there. That was straight up strategy. Let's take it and run it around.
It's an interactive VR music video creator.
No, I mean, I guess I wonder if they meant to be innuendo-esque because the Oregon Quarter wasn't too.
No, I
graphic. Show it to me could be two things. So maybe they meant to. Okay. I had nothing to do with this. This is all Cammy.
Card game. So
What is this?
homemade card game.
So it's a
card game. Yeah.
It's not a game. We're talking about whether it's
Oh,
yarn.
Nava,
yes.
do you think that you see boobs, or do you think that you don't see boobs in this game?
No boobs. She's like, boobs or no?
I'm sorry. It's just the chat is like, it's like hiding it. Everyone in the chat knows what it is. What the hell? Who are you?
You play Old Maid, but you play Old Maid in various locations with scantily clad women.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You play Old Maid, but you play Old Maid with a very sparsely dressed woman who lounges in various ways while you play Old Maid with her.
Oh, that's really fun.
Is it fun? Okay.
That's really so silly.
Oh, cool. This is a new
game. That's for sure 100%
not what? Yarn?
Oh,
what can we say? Yeah, is it yarn?
Cammy, it says your volume is quiet. I don't know why.
Who Cammy's?
Mm-hmm.
Who said that?
Z.
The people.
We got a onward player in here.
Hello.
You chatters need to look at your sound preferences before you say anything about Cammy's sound.
No,
he's calling out Cammy specifically. She doesn't like to be in the spotlight. We just discussed this. Okay, what is this? You said it's not. It's a...
No.
What? Bobby, you and Bobby. Okay, what is this, Cammy? She put this together, I swear.
Galgun VR is, as far as I know,
it sounds like it's a first-person shooter, right?
Yes.
Or I shouldn't have said shooter.
Yes, it is live the dream of being surrounded by hordes of cute girls who are madly in love with you in virtual reality.
Quick question: what's the asterisk for? I guess I'm literal.
What are all the asterisks for? I don't know.
I don't know, but everyone in the chat is like leaving to go look these up. Yeah, cover this. Okay, boobs VR.
Definitely fine.
Like, Cammy is having such a good time. Okay, good.
I'm gonna make Nava play this every time we do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sweaty over here?
Next week, I'm gonna draw things in Tilt Brush and be like, "Is this a dick or is this?"
Yeah. Is this avatar a real avatar or 70s porn star? Okay, this is terrible. For either genre, this is not. This is the kind of thing you give yourself as a gamer tag. Oh god.
This is a good example of when you name things terribly for no matter what your purposes are.
Okay. Bobby says, "Don't Google boobs VR."
You should write in. It's what you're saying though, because when you think about it, this is an article right here. We're talking about names and how, the easiest thing to know the difference between, you can't always, because there's so much meaning to each person. And also if you're an international brand, there's different meanings too. So for me, I think a hot squat would be just like doing, like burning, your thighs are burning from doing your squat.
Mm-hmm.
And
like
then
a burning sensation.
Yeah. Now I know. Hold on, let me take this jacket off.
Oh, is it getting hot? You need to cool down.
Now
I was gonna yell at us later. Okay, it is not. Okay,
it is a VR fitness experience. Nava was right. It's the only burning you experience with hot squat is in your thighs.
But can I go to the owner of Hive? Please tell me right now. I'm Googling it. I need to make sure I follow them on Twitter.
Okay.
Who's the developer of Hot Squat?
Yeah, Nava is graceful. Yes, I agree. Okay.
She's too good for us.
Monster Girl Island prologue. If this is a book, I want to read it.
This looks like
I've
what is
exposed
it?
myself as a nerd.
Like zombies or whatever. Like I could see just a bunch of monster zombie girls on an island, just like foaming at the mouth, fighting you, and you have to like grab them off of you. That's what I see when I see that. Or I think of those monster, those monster doll brats or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Monster Girl Island prologue. That seems too high end. I don't think it's porn.
Wait, real quick. There's a hot squat too. This is by Bean Boy.
You guys, part 2's out. Let's try it. Okay, explain this, Cammy.
Dragon slimes, giant bugs, centaurs, and more. The island is full of monsters, and they are all oddly attractive.
Are we the judge of that?
Nope, that's how it's put in the synopsis.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to look this up now. It's taunting us.
So I think that you're right that people are foaming at the mouth, but it's just a little different in nature.
Sometimes.
Cammy wants to play. That is definitely yarn.
It's not Cammy wants to play. Emily does.
I'm just, I'm
yarn.
I like to play this game. I think it's hilarious.
That tells us nothing.
Emily wants to play. What do you think that Emily wants to play? It's a horror. It's a VR horror game.
Yeah, I think I knew that one. It sounds horror-ish. Not horror. Horror. Sorry. We're punishing Nava.
This would be really gross if it was yarn. So I'm gonna say there's just something really nasty and almost like deadly about it. Those people that do
Hey, some people are into that.
I need some Purell. I'm feeling some Purell.
Sorry. This is not my idea. I'm turning red
No, this
too.
is all of my idea. I will take full credit for this. Boneworks would be a great porn VR name, but sadly it is not.
Why not both? Was this the last one?
I hope so.
Oh, womp womp. Yeah. Well, thanks for putting that together.
No problem.
Good. Brings me back to the Hive days.
All right, back to business.
Yeah, I mean, you still stayed paused on that girl that I asked you to stay paused on?
I certainly did. Her name is not Emily.
Oh,
Well, I had to like unpause it because like it was pausing it unflattering, So this, do you remember this? They were talking about commerce here during the keynote.
NFTs and virtual merch. So This is what kind of like I was sort of done watching after this.
Okay, so I forget this guy's name, but he was talking about the stuff that you create and own it, and you could like display it and then bring it around, which is insane because like we always have these ideas and we never execute them. So like I don't know, we're like those people that sit at home and you watch that those infomercials and you're like, I had that idea for that Tupperware thing, So because we had talked about this making NFT like collection cards display, and so that's what he was talking about. Although this seems a little bit more not about like VR, I think, right? It's more like just about the platform. That's pretty. But I do want to pause this and talk about this event that I went to last week. It was Hope for Haiti. They are an organization. So this is FXG. They built like this environment where this isn't. This is like completely independent. So we had to side load it in through SideQuest. Oh, wow. And yeah, so it's amazing. the avatars are so wonky. I mean, they hadn't like really tested it thoroughly or anything. I think it was like the first time they launched it. But Hope for Haiti is like a non-tech organization, and they are in the south of Haiti. The CEO is there, Skylar, and he like we got to go around the environment, check it out. He kind of told us the significance of things like the water pump and the flag. And then inside the classrooms where we go, he kind of talks about. Oh, here's a campfire. We do introductions. So here he talks about their program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. And then afterwards, like at the end, like there's a classroom where you can go into and check out like their real classroom with all kinds of different like notes and videos. But then in the third room, there was an auction for NFT art. So, and that auction went to support the charity. So I thought that was so cool because they're not like, they're a charity, you know, they're a nonprofit, and Skylar was talking about how they accept cryptocurrency, you know, all kinds of cryptocurrency as donations as well, because they're like, you know, whatever will help. So I really like, you were talking about Congress, they don't understand anything on the internet. I work for nonprofits, so I always appreciate when companies that aren't tech focused or tech centric like take that leap and work with something that is a new technology that I think it's like super innovative. It supports the artist, you know, as well, because they're able to display their work. They also generously donated it, and then you can auction it. You can purchase at the auction. It was really cool. So they're actually going to be at AWE, so we'll hang out with them there. I'm excited
Very
about
cool.
Who else is
Did
going to
they
be
collaborate?
at AWE?
Well, maybe if you got vaccinated, you'd be there.
Shade. So much
Just
shade.
So much shade.
No, I wish you were there. I'm just kidding. But you're vaccinated, so I'm just messing with you. I just wish you were coming.
I just wanted to highlight the fact that you are both going to be at AWE this weekend.
No, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I just booked my flights yesterday.
You did?
Man,
I booked my flight first. I didn't even know what I was doing. He asked me to come.
So
I was
smart.
like,
It'd be like
I'm
double.
gonna book my flight, and then you can tell me what this is for. Yes, Bobby. FXG was the one that built it. Nick was in there. Lucas was in there. Keva was in there. So it was like Skiva
was in there?
Skiva. Yeah, and yeah. So it was really cool. Like to like experience it, because, well, first of all, it's difficult for me to be in VR for long periods of time currently, as it makes me very, very nauseated. But so I didn't think I was going to stay that long, but it was so good, and the people were so like passionate, and like they were really like, unlike what I'm doing right now, they were articulating their mission very well in an inspiring way. So I was really glad I was able to stay, but it's just really cool to see that happening in VR.
They're always doing great things, though. You know, I mean, every time I'm around them, they're always either bringing people together, creating just, I remember when we did OC6 together.
Oh, yeah, we did the talk and the
I
events.
forgot, but Bobby was there. Hey, Bobby. Lucas was there.
I was there.
That's what I said. You were there. Bobby was there. Lucas was there.
Yeah, I know. No, like
Finn was there. Just there was a bunch of people that I knew that were there. That those were like the independent creators that I met while in VR, right? So, you know, saying what they do and doing what they say kind of people. So it was a really great group that they got together. We should have a reunion.
Yeah, maybe at AWE. Well, it's kind of funny because so with VR, like, I hate the word evangelist, but evangelist, you know, we always talk about like how it's like you're really there with someone and you really have that experience, but we all enjoy being there in person. So in person first.
VR, well, I mean, I have a good time in VR, but the problem is VR isn't easy. It's not as seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Un-
when it comes to getting together, like when you do get together, it's awesome. Remember when you guys came to the social VR heart community? You and Bobby came and painted with me, and we just hung out for a little.
yeah, that was
Just
a fun
all there
photo.
together. But we have
That's
this
true.
tool, we know how to use it. We should use it more.
You're right. We should get together more. And VR is a lot easier for you to use than Discord.
I feel like Discord and I mean, I'm a part of
We're just roasting her. I'm so
it.
sorry.
No, it's true though. You're so right. I have 100 apps that I deal with. This is the one app that I swear hates me because every time I try to turn a notification on for groups or a message, it does them all. And then when I mute it all and then I change the preference in the back, it never updates.
We all have that app. Mine's Infinity.
Start Infinity. Stop being a hater
Yeah.
on my awesome ideas.
But I
So
love Discord.
this part, yeah. I mean, look at that telescope. That's awesome.
What's Telescope?
What?
Oh,
No. The
Yeah,
telescope.
in the video.
it's because they were watching your what you were doing.
Yeah, right.
They liked it. They're like, she's so creative. We have to do what she's doing.
Yeah, sit there and do nothing. I
Yeah,
was,
you're amazing.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, so for the upcoming episodes, I really would like Nava to get back into doing the show again. I think that, or like a show. We're trying to figure out like all the different content because I think that like while we like helping people, get up and running with their streams or their group or whatever it is, it ultimately, like, I think what we're finding is we're doing it because we want to help people, but
I mean, that's why I was
yeah, but it only takes you so
spotlight.
far, because now we've spent all this time like building up other people and lack our own content kind of a thing.
No, I don't even
So
know how bad am I? But at least I tweet a lot. I'm not a website builder, but I tweet a lot.
Well,
you do.
I think we have a lot of experiences in VR that are sort of unique or because we've worked with so many different people and so many different things that
Yeah.
it's I think we can bring our own point of view to certain things and talk about those experiences within VR and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's great to help out other people do their thing, but at the same time, I think that what we have to say is also, I mean, not so much me, but the other two people here.
Everything you.
I like when you talk. It's hilarious.
too. Keep going.
Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like it too much, but who cares what he thinks?
Oh.
Yeah, you really don't like Mark. That's what I call him, Mark. I know.
Oh, Marky Mark.
That's what he said to call him during the trial.
On a first name basis.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the restraining order.
I'm not letting you read my stuff anymore.
I definitely wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want to be him right now. I mean, he's under so much pressure and stress.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him as a human, I really do.
As a human, for sure.
As a human. I would say though that as someone in marketing, Facebook's biggest problem or PR problem is Mark Zuckerberg. And I'm really sorry because I like that he's created things and I think that he should definitely continue to work within Facebook, but I don't know that he should be the face of Facebook just because there's something about Mark Zuckerberg and people have made memes about this now. He is kind of unrelatable.
I love that.
You love that he's like a robot? Like an
I do.
android yeah?
I love that he is not a politician. I hate charmers. I can't stand.
I think there's a difference between being being a yes man and being someone who just like says whatever you want to hear and someone who comes across that you trust them like just in that same organization to draw a different example or draw a comparison. John Carmack does I did not watch his stuff yet, but OC6 I watched John Carmack's keynote and I absolutely loved it because he was the first person who got up there and said, you know what? We're not doing this and this and this right. And we're going to try and be better. And I know that Mark Zuckerberg said that even in the first 5 minutes. He was like, there's some things that we aren't doing right. And we're going to continue to get better. I don't believe him. I don't believe you, Mark. I don't believe you when you say that to me. I believe John Carmack when he says that, because John Carmack to me is someone who believes wholeheartedly into technology. That was his thing. Like he was
Oh,
the Oculus guy that when he says,
Zuck could have been that too, though.
yeah,
I mean, but he can't do that. He's dealing with takedowns, shakedowns, breakdowns, policies, Congress, people management. I mean, I managed, I was an admin when I was like 17, 18 years old. I would just watch the owners and kind of just see what they went through. And I said, okay, I don't ever want to own a big corporation like I thought I did when I was like 14, 13 and 14. I definitely want to be at the top, but I don't want to own because the kind of stress that I saw and the decisions that they had to make on other people's lives, because you can't just sort of shut down. You got to still keep making money because you got 700,000 other people who need to eat, right? And you're paying them their job. It's just I'm not saying he's perfect and I'm sure there's better somewhere else, but everybody thought Steve Jobs was that way too, and now we look back and think of him, at least I do. I don't know, I don't always judge him that way. I kind of like that he is awkward. I can be a little awkward sometimes too. I don't really like politicians.
well,
People that have everything to say that's right and that sounds good or that's authentic, normally aren't always so authentic.
because
I'm not
awkwardness
saying
can
he's
come off
not.
as being more truthful. You can trust someone if they're a little bit more awkward because they sound less prepared. So it sounds less like they prepared the statement that they've run by 16,000 PR people or had it written, and it sounds like they're speaking genuinely and from their own thoughts and feelings and whatever. So yeah, I think a little bit of awkwardness isn't bad. It's just maybe it's a me problem because but I mean clearly other
It's not a
people
you problem.
have this problem as well with him, is that to some of us I just feel like he's just whatever he's saying, if he means it, I don't feel it. I don't feel it in my heart, Mark. You gotta touch my heart a bit more.
Well, first of
What
all,
I like
prove you
about him,
have a heart.
Yeah,
yeah, but
sorry.
what I like about him is that he delegates and he lets people make decisions
Yeah.
on big, big things. That's a hard job. Have you ever had to do that?
No, and as I said, I totally agree with you. I would not want Mark Zuckerberg's job,
No way.
but it
So let
might
him
make.
keep it.
Oh, no, no, I don't think that he shouldn't have
Let
his
him
job.
stay there.
I just mean maybe someone else should speak for Mark Zuckerberg. Like maybe we should need to have a Mark Zuckerberg to human translator who just like puts emotion and feelings into things so that we
Well,
can
that's Sheryl
understand.
Sandberg, which I never see her anymore. Sheryl Sandberg. She's
Wasn't that the lean in?
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. What happened to her?
never at conferences anymore. She's
Where's the
that person.
women?
There were a lot of women in this keynote.
Yeah, I mean, remember that girl we met that came by with the Beat Games people at your party at OC6? She came, she was like the head of gaming. I forgot her name. She was in there. She got a haircut.
Oh, wait,
She was enthusiastic. What was her name?
Ashley?
No, she was like walking around. She did a talk too at OC6, but she was walking around with the Beat Games guys. She had to pick them up when it was time to go.
The Beat
She's
Game
like
guys.
Beat Saber, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure we'll find it later. She did like the woman in VR lunch. Woman in
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about Fiji. I'm talking about the other, because Fiji left. She works at Instacart now.
Well, that was something we were talking about before, like getting well, I mean, we promote women doing things. That's what the Colettos is all about. And I'm still gonna say the same thing. I do like esports stuff. I want to see more women casters, more women playing, more women in the league. And
I'm
it's
surprised.
like you're
I'm
surprised
surprised
what?
it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I think this is a topic that I think that we should explore this topic more in depth
Yeah,
because
we
I think
definitely will.
we've been
That
on.
should be our next call because I have a lot of questions for that.
Yeah, so
We do.
I think maybe next week we can talk about women in VR specifically as it relates to like casting and esports roles and
Well,
Yeah.
how about just what it's like to be a woman in sports. Like, not about, I don't think, I think it's good to empower women and like make them feel good, but like the ones that deserve it, doesn't have to just because she's a woman. I think it should be because she deserves it. Like, you knew Onward, you knew gaming, you were doing it, you were building, you were doing a lot.
I
And
learned it as I went. I wouldn't say I knew much.
yeah, but did anybody take you under their wing and help you in Onward?
Animal House, maybe.
I
I mean, yeah, there was. I would say Edna. I mean, she was like the first female Onward player, legend. So, but well, for me, again, I always say this. It's like, it's not because, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I'm not saying like it's for the diversity stuff. Like, of course it is, but like, I love playing in lobbies where I go in, it's like, oh my God, is that a girl gamer? Like, it's so annoying. And we talk about it all the time. I'm so tired of talking about it. I want enough women on that it's like no longer a topic that's like, oh, she's a girl that's gaming. It's like, let's all mix in together, and then also it's inviting because it's super intimidating to go into a community when you want to play with other, your girlfriends or something. Like, we did that, and there's a video you can see on my personal YouTube that I posted about us playing. Like, it was a lobby, it was all women, we all played, and then we're like, okay, let's open it up and go into like a mixed lobby, and we did, and it was awful, and we all quit because we're like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, we cursing at us, saying all kinds of stuff, and we're like, okay, and then people were like, well, then you just got to kick their ass and stuff and improve them. I'm like, okay, fine. So I don't deserve to be a human unless I can prove myself that I can kick their ass. First of all, come to me in person. I'll kick your ass. I know I'm little, but I'm scrappy. But they would never say that in person. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff that, what?
Where was that? What game?
Onward.
It isn't Onward owned by Facebook? Or I'm sorry, Meta?
It is now. Yeah.
Have you been in the lobby as of it's been owned by?
No, I mean, no, I'm just talking like just sporadic, but I'm just saying that it was on Onward, but we had like, Robin had that experience in Hyperdash and stuff like that. And so like, when I say like, we need diversity in casting and in games, is because I want to hang out with people who aren't going to like, or girlfriends. we can hang out and have fun like we are right now. And just because some people are afraid to try it and maybe they just need that encouragement, and why not? And also, it's like, have you ever talked to the same people in like an echo chamber? It's nice to get a different perspective.
100%.
So we will talk about that next week. And then sometime when Cammie and I are ready, because we have to prepare for this fight. Like, we've been fueling for this fight between us, Pavlov versus Onward.
Yeah, we're going to solve it once and for all.
Once and for all, she will bow down. Yeah, I'll even give you 6 minutes.
Well, wait, I have a question on is there anybody who's in because I can't see the messages or anything. Maybe we can ask them, what is one thing that they're kind of frustrated as a creator? What is something? So, hey guys, hey girls, hey she, thief, them, whatever you are, whoever you are,
denizens,
metas. What would you say as a creator or as a player or as just someone who's been a part of VR for as long as you have is something that bothers you, or that, and be honest, like, what's something that's just, I'm so tired of it. I've been holding it in and I just want to talk about it.
What really grinds your gears about VR and the ecosystem of creation in it?
Yeah.
I think we're trying to like, we were discussing about like, just like how transparent or candid are we going to be? Because I mean, it's not like, I think this is pretty much who we are, but of course there's a lot more that we say when we're not talking with an audience, like that's an experience that we share or something. But sometimes I do want to be very candid, because I feel like my opinion is, when something happens to you, you own that experience. Yeah. And if people wanted you to talk nicely about them, they should have treated you better. That's a quote from Anne Lamott. So that's the truth. So if you treat me like shit, and I feel like you did that to me, I experienced that, I can talk about that. And if I treated you like shit, you can go ahead and talk about it too, because I obviously didn't care, because whatever. But the thing is with VR is that it is still such a small community that you don't want to like burn bridges, but not just that, but I mean, yeah, you don't want to burn bridges. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt, or you realize that if you burn that bridge, there's like no other game, no other leagues, no other teams, or whatever it is. So we're hoping to
like you feel shunned, like you can't really be authentic, like they're not allowing you to have a voice.
Well, it's when it's a small insular community, it's very easy to get segregated from the herd. If, if you alienate that herd or if they feel that, you're going against the grain, I think it's very easy to get shunned out of it.
Going
yeah.
against.
Yeah, I'm not personally I'm not talking about like my experience. I don't feel like shunned from anybody, but hold that thought.
Who doesn't love you?
Okay, let's not have a poll. I don't want to know.
Has anyone answered that question, by the way, in the comments at all?
No, I was just saying what like I've heard recently was like the lack of opportunity for people who weren't grandfathered in to things.
Open that up on social media afterwards and get some feedback and talk about that next week.
Yeah,
probably.
There's a lot of things that like we do that's part social and then part like gaming aspect of it, but we're like involved, we're in the community, and I don't want to I'm not gonna disclose anyone else's complaints or anything, but would love to like hear from others or people who would want to come forward and talk about it. I think we had someone like that when we did Twitter Spaces last week about like his experience in the community. Bobby says
Wall Street Bets.
Bobby said there are definitely some people in VR industry who have a God complex. For real.
Hello. That's why I love Bobby.
I love Bobby too.
Authentic, genuine.
He is.
When I was in a situation where I was kind of like getting, I don't know, I'm just whatever. He was always the one to like hand over the ladder or the rope if I was drowning or something,
Yeah.
He's just such a nice guy, and he's so talented. He's such a great writer, and he actually uplifts artists for a living. What a great job.
I know. I love you, Bobby. I know you're in the audience, so we're just like singing your praises, but I sometimes get like a text randomly out of nowhere from Bobby that just tells me how much he appreciates me as a friend and that he loves me and stuff. It's like, you're so awesome, because people just kind of need that sometimes. And so, yeah, there are a lot of great people in VR, and if there weren't, I really would not be in it at all. But I think like, because I took a year off, I'm like kind of getting back into it and like instantly remembering what I didn't want and didn't like, So real quickly, let's before we sign off, tell everyone what you're working on currently right now in VR.
Cami, you start. I want to hear all about you.
Mine's a bit of a secret project, but I will give out some details. Is that there is a competitive game that exists that has some problems within its community of toxicity and stuff like that. And some people within that gaming community have decided that they're going to take it upon themselves to make that community better, make a competitive ecosystem that makes sense, that focuses on the competitive nature and allows people to have that sort of engagement. Because when you're competitive with each other, it's fine to sort of joke around with each other in a way that's still fun and light, but not targeting. So I'm working with them right now to try and figure out and solve a problem that I think is ongoing within a lot of communities in VR, especially because they're small and new, is how do you get the toxicity out of something when it's already like planted its seeds and started to grow. So that is sort of some very rough details on what I'm working on.
I know, that's quite the undertaking.
I've been reading all about what you just talked about. I have a lot of toolkits if you'd like them.
Please.
For free.
Yeah. For free. Just because I love it. So cool.
And Nava, what are you working on right now? Or want to be working on?
Well, I was working on getting out of that toxic work culture, and I got out of it. But for me, I just want to do, so I'm working on this right here. I wanted every world I build, I always build like a community world where other people like add into it, and because I want to see what I could build alone versus what I build when I'm with a community. And this community is actually really different than most community. The people in Horizon, the people that are in there the most, they're unlike any group that I've seen in social VR. They're not like Alt Space. They're not like Somnium Space. They're not like Neos VR. They're actually one of the, it's crazy, but it's one of the most welcoming spaces. I mean, I've already been in it, but I watch what they do with others. I mean, they give away content for free. They teach and educate. They spend so much time doing that. I mean, so much time, and they don't really ask for anything in return. So they're just very good people. But I hope that, I never want to take advantage of someone like that. But I worry that maybe they'll get into a place that maybe I was in, where you just give too much and then you're deflated. So I'm just kind of working on a way to like see what I can do to help, like what kind of tools I can give them to make them not, that's my idea right now. That's what I'm trying to do, but not that they are needing it or at all right now. I'm just thinking in my head, like in the future, when a lot of people start coming in, it's going to become very overwhelming, because people will start taking your ideas and making it theirs. They're not going to be that camaraderie if you don't have like a structure that makes you good, like you guys were experiencing. You'll see it change as the more people come in, right? I mean, it's such a pure area, like just a pure world, I guess you could say. The new creators.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyway,
new, no yarn.
Yeah, and I'm very hyper focused on seeing how creators can have this, talk about what you want, and if they don't want it, see you later. And go somewhere else and build that company and make it better than that company, and then show your worth.
There you go.
I just feel like this is the year of the creators. 2022 is going to be the year of the creator. If you're a creator, give it all you got right now. This is your year. You have opportunities left and right. If we all got together in the VR industry, all of us, we would win. Do you realize that?
She wants to GameStop somebody.
I'm
I know.
feeling very Viva la Resistance right now from Nava.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. I'm in. I don't know what this is, but I'm in.
Mhm.
I don't want anybody being taken advantage of. Like,
No, I hear you.
If they don't get paid, then like don't ask for things.
For sure, I am all about that. Like, it's a lot of work. It's amazing sometimes where like sometimes I look back, I'm like, oh my God, everything I did this last week was a favor for somebody, and it was a lot of work, so I mean, for me, sometimes it's fine, but there are other people who I know want so badly to like just get their feet in and just be a part of something that they allow themselves to be taken advantage of. And I agree with you. That's does not need to be happening.
No, we're creators. We're creating. We're innovative. Yeah. What are you working on?
Well, I'm actually working on some projects that are non-VR that is currently really like kind of taking over everything before VR, because that's a lot more like work, VR. I hate to say that because there's some things I'm really passionate about in VR, but there is the XR Safety Initiative is having Safety Week in December, which I'm trying to get them to change their name so that it's a little bit more clear. It's not like sure. Yeah. It's a big event, and it's going to involve a lot of different people in different fields that within XR Safety Initiative. And I'm going to be on day 3, December 3rd. It'll be, I think it'll be on what is it? Gaming and Cyber XR Coalition is about inclusion in gaming. So I am putting together something for the different esports leagues and organizations and companies to participate. Yeah, but like getting them to be involved in like a better community. So, you know what I mean? Like be a part of this, not just say like, yeah, I support it and we want more women, you know, like let us support you to make your community better. So that's what we're going to talk about, and like how we can work on being like providing like safety for people in VR, you know, because you can feel very violated very quickly, and sometimes we don't know how to handle that or deal with that. So that's the big one. Excuse me?
Are you getting paid for that?
I get paid for everything.
Okay,
good. Which now I feel bad because I can't tell you which projects of mine are paid or not paid.
No. I was just saying that's a big job, and I know that XR Safety is a nonprofit, so that to me is a job, what you're doing. That's a job. So I like know the difference between, as a creator, a job and just a little help.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm like, you know, creating. It's more like, I don't know, just trying to like wrangle everyone in, and like esports has grown so big now, and we really need to like find a way to not make VR esports as insanely toxic as regular pancake esports. So that's what I'm helping with. So that's
you're the maple sugar syrup. You're gonna make it taste good.
Yes. Wow. Not porn.
Don't worry. I always forget I'm talking to you too.
Yeah, sorry. That and the fun side is Cami and I we're trying to put together some of these like gaming shows, because I think one of the things that's hard with esports gaming, getting people involved, is that they don't get it. You know, like how does this game work? Like what do you love about it? And that's what we're gonna try and convey. So that's the fun side. And then also shout out to Mike Julia out there. We're working with them. They're a community of creators. You know, they are casters as well. I really love them. Like they asked me to like help them cast something, and if I could help fill in, and I did. Then I had an event and I asked if they could, you know, fill in for me. Really cool people. We're helping them to like rebrand and present themselves more to like the industry, so that people can know their name, and they're just really cool people. So we're like working with them, helping them you know, get their stream set up, getting them connected in the VR world, etc. They're really cool people, so I'm excited about that too.
Oh, very interesting. And you both have full-time jobs too, right? I don't know. Isn't it so?
All of it is my job.
People in VR just are such hard workers. Not just VR. I'm just saying it's 30 jobs.
Well, I mean,
as you say that, I'm imagining getting off of this and going have ice cream and reading a book or something.
Oh my God. I'm like, why didn't I have wine during this call?
Oh, can we drink next time?
Yeah, I think we should have a glass of wine. I know you don't drink because you're allergic. Maybe you can drink soda or water.
Can you get hopped up on sugar?
Yeah, she can.
Can I have gummy bears?
Those are my favorite, Harbos.
Do they have THC in them?
Oh.
Yeah, you can get hopped up on gummy bears. The normal kind.
No, I can drink sometimes.
I'm not saying you have to drink. It just I forgot that was a possibility.
Is that what makes you cool?
No.
Do I have to drink to be cool?
You know what makes you cool?
Literally nothing.
Welcome to
all of my DC toys right in front of me, like my Legos of like Batgirl and Flash.
I'm gonna send you pictures of my son tomorrow. He's gonna be Flash.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, the project I'm working on is DC, and I'm so excited.
What?
I know.
DC brand or DC something?
DC brand. Wait, DC something.
Shut the front.
Did you? Oh, I thought she cursed for real. Anyway, I'll talk about it offline, because as much as I love VR, I'm kind of like, can I just pivot to talk about comic books? I'd love to do that.
It's kind of like,
we can do.
I wonder if Twitter Spaces is open right now.
And chat with people.
Well, we can. If it's
thanks, Bobby.
If it's not open next week, we can keep this to like a time limit, because we got started late and we ran over because we have such great conversations, which is why I wanted to do this, because I think that our conversations are entertaining, at least to me. So
Yeah,
I just wanted to do this.
I think we should secretly record whenever we talk because sometimes we catch the funny things, which I feel bad because a lot of it is just us hating on Nava, not hating on her, clowning on her.
I think it's the story of my life, but it's okay. Like I'm, I enjoy everyone being happy around me. So if that's what it takes, then
Okay, so
I'll take it.
if Twitter Spaces is open, then hop into Twitter Spaces. Just hang out with us. We don't have to talk VR. Just come chat with us.
Say hi.
Well, I mean, like Twitter Space is always open. It's open 24/7. I meant more like, is it busy?
Oh my god, that's so
Twitter is
meta.
Twitter's where
Stop it!
No,
Can I just say one more
you know how you win
Twitter hater?
is you start saying meta for stupid things and then you ruin it so they can't use it anymore. Every time
Well, I don't
someone
want to
does,
destroy a company. I want to make them make good decisions and be fair. Not make them make good decisions. Make them do the right thing, but not like do the right thing.
Do
You
the
can't
right
always
thing.
do the right thing in business.
I feel like that's how we started off this podcast, which is not a podcast, by the way, but just do the right thing.
It
We
could be.
accidentally went live. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on our come back after the hiatus, and yes, we actually will probably be back
Maybe
Next Thursday at 9:30.
9:30
Every Thursday at 9:30.
at 9:30.
9:30
Here, maybe,
Eastern.
probably, and then in
And-
Twitter Spaces, maybe.
After
Probably.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone's still listening, totally DM us, the Hive VR on Twitter, or Nava K, or VR Chasen, or Kamikaze. She'll have to spell that out for you. I think it's her last.
Kamikaze.
More H's.
It's a lot. In fact, I was going to ask her. I never tag her because I never remember
Should
her
I
name.
rebrand?
I think rebrand is meta for you.
So meta.
So meta.
All right. With that, good night, everybody. We'll
Bye.
chat with you soon.
Tweet.